Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime Hero Without a Class Who Even Needs Skills, which had 12 episodes and was airing in autumn of 2025. Synopsis on AniList. In a world where one's class determines everything, Arel, the son of a sword princess and an archmage, was expected to inherit greatness. But when he discovers he's classless, everything changes. Now he's determined to prove that hard work and dedication are enough to not just succeed, but to excel as an adventurer. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh. Now, the main character, Arel, who is the black-haired guy, he's a somewhat acceptable character, in my opinion. He's very, he wants to train, he wants to fight people that are stronger, so he can learn stuff from them. He's not really interested in romance at all. He's very dry. I would like him to be a little bit smarter. As example, he's classless. Now, in this society, fantasy world, being classless is being looked down upon. Okay, sure. I would like for him, there are multiple instances where he is being asked what class he is. And if you don't need to show your ID, just lie. Just, I'm a small, a swordsman. I'm a spellcaster, whatever. Just lie, because then you don't have to have the whole follow-ups we had like a bunch of times there. Oh, you are classes. Oh, you don't know anything. But, apart from that, I like the concept that we have a character who doesn't have a class. A class allows you to get some of these skills, like let's say a normal sword thrust. You have that inside your brain. As soon as you get the class, you get the skill and you have it unlocked, and you can use the ability, the skill now. Similar with magic, you get like the incantation, so you can now use a fireball if you are a fire mage as a class. Okay, he doesn't have that, so he has to train and more or less overcome that and do it physically alone. He can't use a skill, so he has to mimic the activation, and more or less, at the beginning at least, he's more or less just mimicking what the skill would do and does it physically, which allows him to do a lot of stuff that the skill doesn't allow you to. One example at the beginning is like a double strike where you form an X as an attack. Because he can't use the skill, he has to physically, move fast enough to make an X. So he uses the skill without really using the skill, which allows him to do another X behind that, or offset the two slashes. He can do a lot of stuff because he's not confined to the skill. However, it takes a lot more time and skill, physical prowess, to use similar abilities. Now, halfway through, I feel like we just ignored that system and we're like, yeah, he's now using skills. Now, it could be that he uses his physical ability that is very similar to the skill, so people just assume he's using the skill. But at some point, it feels like we are, more or less just learning all the skills we need, which leads me to the point that this is a power fantasy OP meh, which it's not very enjoyable at that, in my opinion, because we have 12 episodes, and in those 12 episodes, we not only have our character go to another city, learn. First, he learns stuff at home because he has a mother who is a sword princess, a very advanced sword job or class. He learns from her, okay, then goes to another city, learns swordsmanship there, learns more or less all the sword ability he can, be totally OP in swordsmanship, goes back home, defeats his mom, who's the sword goddess, we find out, which is one of the super advanced classes in swordsmanship. Decides then to learn magic, goes away to a magic school, learns magic, is OP in all magic, goes back home and is more or less, hey dad, I'm better at magic at you, and that in 12 episodes. So, you know, developing this is like a speed train in Japan where we go like Mach 7 in development. And for what? For what? There are also naturally stupid things happening. You do see two characters. I don't remember her name, Alicia or whatever. And we have Rainer. Now, she is prevalent from the very beginning. They, you know, trained as little children. She's has a class as a swordsman. So, you know, they were fighting, which prompted him to more or less go and train, and her as well, go and train. Mostly prompted her to go and train, and he followed suit later. The problem is these characters, I mean, they are fine. They're fine characters. To be honest, the characters don't really matter. They are only there for like half the season at all. But there's just so much bullshit going on. We are in the Sword City. We have this big tournament, which we take part in. Our character is totally OP already and can defeat everyone, which is okay, I guess. I don't know. So one of the enemies, quote unquote, takes a demon sword, gets possessed by the demon sword. Our guy defeats the demon sword dude and is not disarming them. There are no guards that are, you know, taking this demon guy in, you know, under control, finding them, whatever, killing him. It's a fucking demon, but all this just so the demon can potentially possess someone else and we have to fight again. It is just stuff happens so we can have stuff happen. That is the main part. Similar to the magic school, which we get later too. We get introduced to some other characters. Again, why can't we just lie and say we are a swordsman? Would be so much easier instead of always being like, yeah, I'm classless, and everyone is like, oh, you don't know anything. Ooh. I also don't understand why he's the only classless guy that is able to do any of this. The whole magic part is already stupid because he went to the Sword City, he comes back, some time has passed. It's not like it's overnight. It's like 6 months or so he's in the city. No, I believe even 3 years at that point. Whatever the case, doesn't really matter. He comes back home and then it's like, okay, I defeat my mom. He goes to his dad and it's like, I want to learn magic. And he's like, yeah, but you don't have magic. You don't have mana. Okay. They then check if he has mana. Why didn't they do this before? Because now he has to do the whole Mushoku Tensei by, you know, draining all his mana, replenishing mana, using all the mana, and this way he increases his mana capacity. If he had tested his mana capacity as a child, he could have done this on the side. And we wouldn't have to have, you know, now he's like 13, 14, I don't know how old, and now he's trying to get mana. Why not before? You want to be stronger, your dad is a mage, but you never asked him to try and learn magic. it doesn't really fit the character at all. And then again, we learn some mana, we learn some magic, we go to the magic school. Here again, it makes sense. He doesn't have the skills, so he has to learn the magic writing, which comprises more or less the skills. The magic writing is like a formula that then you more or less channel a mana into or whatever, and this produces a spell. But if you have the class, you can just use this skill as a shortcut instead of learning this magic script. Okay. Makes sense. So he learned it. It's like a formula. It's like, you know, like programming. So he can use shortcuts. We find out that the shortcuts he uses are a little bit more unsafe. They are faster and potentially more efficient, but they don't have the safety that the normal script has, or the normal formula. Okay, we have a little bit of an, you know, offset. You can make it shorter, but you have to sacrifice a little bit. Okay, cool. Naturally, he doesn't need to. He just learns all the magic there for, you know, he learns flying in his sleep because why not? I guess. Then he's like, okay, I go and I want to fast track this whole magic thing because I want to be strong enough. So, you know, because I want to be as strong as my dad in magic. Understandable. So he tries to skip the class or get to the, you know, advancement exam earlier. And this is stupid. So the fire magic school is like, okay, yeah, I saw you, you know, your magic script, you're pretty advanced already, so I'm gonna go and give you a test. In that test, naturally, he can't use the normal monster. No, accidentally, he has to defeat an advanced monster, which it was an accident, but, you know, in story writing, it's at this point, it's like, okay, we go this way to show he's so OP, so he can advance in fire magic. Yay. In ice magic, he is unable to have any social skills, and he's just, you know, more or less pressing all the wrong buttons on the water magic teacher. So she is very mad, and she's like, okay, if you can, you know, whittle down my outer layer, then I'm going to allow you to advance. She doesn't want to let him advance, and is like, okay, you have to defeat me in a duel. Which he does so much magic that at that point, they have like their ice edge, like each, it's like little ice particles that fire at each other, and they are more or less summoning the same amount. But then he summons like 4 times the amount, and at that point I would be, as a teacher, like, you know what? You seem strong enough. I'm going to let you advance, you know? But no, he has to defeat her in magic fully, naturally, and only using ice magic instead of using fire magic. I feel like it would have already been enough if he was like, yo, I attend all of these classes. I already advanced in fire magic. But we have to be quiet about that. He attends all these magic classes at the same time because it wouldn't be funny otherwise later on. The wind magic is the only one I find somewhat interesting. So the idea is there's a race, and with wind magic you fly, and if you are the first to win the race, you get closer to more or less a headmaster of the Wind Academy, and, you know, you can then ask them to potentially advance. That is the idea. So he tries to be the fastest in flying, which he is not. He's unable to keep up with the top, you know, top flyer in the school. Understandably, okay. you know, he only learned flying for like 2 months, and he learned most of his flying in sleep because how I don't know. However, to offset his skill issue, he uses his physical prowess to, you know, he summons little wind thingies under his foot, and he uses that as resistance to just push off with his leg strength, and that is how he gets fast enough to keep up and turn in the last corner more efficiently. And this is where I'm like, okay, I can see this happening, because hey, he is physically very strong because he is so advanced in all the swordsman techniques. This makes sense. You use something from your swordsman abilities to help you in here. Cool, understandable. First magic is like he has to summon a golem, which is fine. His golem is better, sure. But the teacher's like, oh, you're summoning a golem. Yeah, this golem, there's a human inside. No, there's no human inside. Okay, yeah, but you can't use the metal. Oh, the metal is light and, you know, flimsy, definitely. So it's not as strong. Why aren't you just... You are a teacher that likes to use golems, and someone else is presenting a golem to you. Why are you not excited to find out what what is this golem about? Maybe learn from it. Maybe it is bad, but you are a teacher, you know? Teach them then. Be like, hey, the metal is not necessarily the best thing because it is heavy. Even though my golems are made of out of earth, which is not that much lighter, but we're going to ignore that, I guess. You know, you can, but no, he has to be an asshole and gets defeated. The light magic is the most obnoxious. No, the earth magic was the most obnoxious one, because the whole point is that to advance and get into a later class, the idea is that there is not a competition, but there is like an invention. There is a little more or less showcase where everyone can showcase their little, you know, whatever they can do with earth magic. And our guy was so occupied making his golem that he did not, you know, sign up for this little excursion for some reason, which is stupid. The point is stupid. Why this would be the first thing you would do if you want to advance, which is what he wants. This is the only thing he wants, would be to find out, hey, what do I need to get a higher class or to get promoted? Okay, then do everything to be, you know, allowed to that promotion exam or whatever, and then do it. But he's just doing stuff without signing up, which is stupid. Then we have the light exam, which is just, you go down, you exercise some people, which is nice and it would be cool, but no, it's not enough. He has to exercise some huge undead because we need to showcase again that he's OP. Why? Just why? It would have been okay to just have the whole journey with the swordsmanship. The animation is also not very good. It is not fine. It is below fine, I would say. Don't really like the characters, especially higher up characters are just obnoxious. As always, we have assholes in every magic school class. We have an asshole for some reason. We have bullshit going on in the first city where we learn swordsmanship. We got you know, more or less, they try to assassinate him by leading him into a teleportation trap that seems to be early on in the dungeon and leads instantly to the lowest level where a super OP enemy is. And it's like, why? And why can't we do anything against the one that is responsible for this? It was not good. But I have rambled on for far too long. But I just need to. I know it's like in every one of these shows, it's the same. But I just can't help myself. Now, ratings AniList has it at 61%. Oh, so good. My anime list at 6.2. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Barely 6 out of 10. It is just not good. It is just the power fantasy that is not interesting. The character could have been somewhat acceptable and the system could have been used well, but at some point we just ignored, and it's just the guy that is able to use any skill he wants in the end.